Hey guys, it's me again. So I have a bit of an announcement to make. I realized the last couple of videos I've made, the length has been getting longer and longer and longer. That's not how I initially wanted to present the material. I want to keep things short and concise, but there's a lot of material to go over. I want to make sure you're getting the most accurate information out there as well. And I understand that my viewers are quite busy with their lives. No one has 18-20 minutes to sit here and listen to some random guy ramble and ramble on and on and on. And we've also got the attention span of a goldfish, so. So going forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the videos in half and then film them and post them over a 2-week period. So it's easier for you to absorb the material, as well as it's easier for me to edit, because everyone here knows how fantastic my editing skills are, which are virtually non-existent. Also, my day job's been getting kind of busy. I kind of need to focus on that a bit more. I'm not a sugar baby, unfortunately, as much as I want to be. I mean, like, just look at this face. Some of us gotta work around here, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Money Talk with Hermy. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Herman, but people call me Hermy around here. So last week I was talking about RRSP. In case you haven't watched it, I'll link the video up over here. So this week's topic is going to be something similar, of course, because RRSPs, you flip a coin, and on the other side, what do you have? You have the TFSA, of course. So you might be wondering, what is a TFSA? Sounds like a drug. Well, it's not. Well, I mean, I guess it could be considered a drug, yes, to certain financial addicts, like me. Ooh. All right, so a TFSA is a tax-free savings account. So you might have heard about it, or you might have not. It's not as well known as the RRSP, since the RRSP has been around for way, way, way longer. A TFSA has been created in 2009, so it's not too long ago. I was already born, so if I was around, that means you were probably around. So under the RRSP umbrella, as we talked about in the last video, a retirement savings plan, an RRSP is a registered type of account that fits under that category. We'll be going over taxation on the account, what the purpose of a tax-free savings account is for, some limits like contribution room and age limits, what type of investments you're allowed to be holding inside a TFSA, as well as the nitty-gritty details on a tax-free savings account. So, without further ado, let's get started. So what exactly is a tax-free savings account, the TFSA? As I mentioned earlier, it was an account that was introduced in 2009 by the Canadian government to help Canadians save for the short term or for the long run. Despite the fact that it shares its status as a registered type account with its cousin, the RRSP, it's actually highly flexible. Now, I'm not talking about like downward facing dog or like sun warrior type situation over here, alright? There are still some types of limitations regarding the TFSA. On that note, I want to jump straight into taxation. In case you missed it, the name, as it implies, it's tax-free. Yes, I just said it. It's tax-free. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Didn't you just say in the last video that there are two things that are certain in life? Taxes and death? Yes, I absolutely did say that. But there's a couple things that you need to understand the taxation that involves a TFSA. Your contribution dollars that goes into a TFSA is after tax, meaning that it was taxed before it went in, versus the RRSP, it was not taxed before it went into the account. Because the dollars you've contributed into the TFSA have already been taxed, hence the withdrawals will be tax-free. But it doesn't stop there. Your contributions that go into the TFSA also grow tax-free. Meaning if your investments do well and they're paying like dividends and there are growth in your portfolio, you're getting interest income, you will not be taxed on any of that growth inside your account because it is a tax-sheltered account, but also because it is also tax-free. So upon withdrawal, it is also tax-free. More on that a little bit later. But because your growth inside the account are all tax-free, the government's not going to give you freebies, okay? They never give out freebies. They give you something and they'll take away something. Your contributions inside your tax-free savings account, they're not tax deductible, meaning that compared to the RRSP, you would have gotten a tax refund. This one, it doesn't work like that. You put in $100 and that's that. You don't get like a tax refund. There is one type of tax that is for certain that will apply to your TFSA, and that is the foreign withholding tax. If you haven't watched my previous video on RRSP, I gave a brief explanation of what foreign withholding tax is. Just a quick recap, a foreign withholding tax is something that the IRS, that's in the United States, levy on investments that are American-based companies. They typically levy about 15% tax on your American holdings inside the TFSA. As you recall, in the RRSP, there are no foreign withholding tax with your American-based holdings. It's because the United States government and the Canadian government signed a tax treaty recognizing that a RRSP is a retirement type account, but they never got that clarification for the TFSA, hence why there is a foreign withholding tax. You contributed $1,000 into your tax-free savings account, and over a period of time, it grew and grew and grew. It compounded, it earned dividends, your stock value increased, and now it's at $5,000. And you've decided to withdraw $5,000 from that TFSA, you will not be taxed on a single penny because of its tax-free status. In this case, your portfolio grew in value and you got to withdraw it tax-free. So basically, you get to have your cake and eat it too. Aren't financial calories the best? So next up on the TFSA train, we're going to jump to straight some of the limitations of what a TFSA can do. In this case, there is a contribution limit. Like its RRSP cousin, there is a ceiling on how much money you can contribute inside your tax-free savings account. Otherwise, everyone would be contributing in it to take advantage of the tax-free status. So in 2021, the maximum contribution limit that you are allowed to put in is $6,000. This amount is decided by the CRA and they take inflation into consideration. Since 2009, the amount has gradually increased over time. It started out as $5,000 and there was a special year that they allowed $10,000. And then it went to 5,500, then 6,000, and eventually it'll just keep going up. Money you put inside your TFSA goes towards your contribution route throughout the calendar year, meaning your contributions are from January 1st to December 31st. That is one calendar year. If you've contributed on January 2nd the following year, it will go towards the following year's contribution route. What if you've never had a TFSA and this is your first time hearing about a TFSA? How would you know how much contribution room you have? Well, it's one very easy way to figure that out is to log into your My CRA online account, and on the bottom there, if you scroll down, there should be a TFSA limit that says how much you are allowed to contribute. For instance, if you were 18 years old in 2009 and you've never opened a TFSA, have never contributed to a TFSA in your life, you would have a maximum contribution room of $75,500. Subsequently, if you were of age in the middle of that period, then you would have half of that. What about any unused contribution room? Does that roll over into next year? Yes, it does. So say in 2020, I had a contribution room of $20,000, and because of the pandemic, I had no money and I contributed absolutely nothing to that account. So in 2021, as I mentioned earlier, the maximum amount you're allowed to contribute this year is $6,000. So therefore, in this year, I have a total of $26,000 to start off the year. I'd like to also mention that there are certain penalties involved with over contributing into your account. So say that the maximum cap, as I mentioned earlier, was $75,500 for those who have never contributed to the account, but because, like, you know, this boy is rich. So I maxed out the TFSA, and not only that, before the year ended, I contributed another $5,000 into the account. So now my account is sitting at $85,500. I am $5,000 over my contribution limit. What happens to that extra $5,000? Well, let me tell you. You get taxed 1% on that excess amount every single month. You need to either pull that money out or wait till the following year when the contribution room increases in order to cope with that excess amount. I'd also like to mention, for those people who have left Canada either to work abroad or they become a non-resident, you can also get penalized for any dollars that go into your TFSA from the day you became a non-resident, and that is also 1% per month. So you have to be truly very careful when you're contributing money into your account, and you need to be very mindful of what your contribution room is. So guys, I'm just gonna end the video here. As I mentioned earlier, I want to keep things nice and short and condensed for you. Otherwise, you might become inundated with information, and then instead of absorbing it, you just start repelling it. There will be a part 2 coming, so look forward to that. If you have any questions about the TFSA so far, or there's a specific issue you have in mind, please leave me a comment down below and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And I think what I'll start doing as well is leave my email down there in case you don't want the whole world to know your financial situation. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions for you through there. I would really appreciate it if you would go down there and give this video a like and smash that subscribe button while you're down there. And I mean, right next to it is the little bell icon. Just hit the little dingy dingy. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video, TFSA Part 2. Ciao!